What are we drinking?
This is Hoji Cha.
From Chafinity?
Yes, sourced from Chafinity.
Sick. Shall we begin?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey y'all, welcome to Coffee with BAO. And today I'm hanging out with my friend Wesley Nguyen, who is one of my favorite visual storytellers. He makes videos and other types of art, and we'll talk about it. But basically, I was just telling Wes that he's kind of the primary, like the most ideal subject for Coffee with BAO, because the idea of the show is creative people and their lives and how those two inform each other. And I feel like for Wes and I, our work and our life are pretty much the same thing. And I don't know, I just really love that idea that when somebody is so authentic with their work that it's just like them breathing. So Wes, how long have you been making videos?
In the style that I've been doing
Yeah.
since 2015, late 2015.
Late 2015, 8 years.
Yeah.
How long have you been using your creative alias, BLUER Don
20,
Juan?
same time. So that alias stems from the first time I started this project.
BLUER Don Juan. I'll write it in the description so y'all can find Wes. So I met Wes with the crew at Chafinity, who makes all of the matcha that I drink and post online. And Wes creates a lot of the cool content for them. And it's weird because that's his work, but it's also like, that's also your vibe. just as a person and a creative, that's your vibe. So it's like, it's a match made in heaven, right? So this is a cool conversation because everything about you, I feel like, is very just authentic. Like, you've done so much work to just get to the source of who you are and what you want to be. For a Vietnamese guy, you sure are into like Zen and Japanese culture.
Yeah. Too much, I think.
And it shows, right, in your person. I guess a lot of the Zen stuff too translates into how you are. Where do you think, how long's that been around? Where does that come from?
The Zen stuff didn't come around until I started doing like Japanese tea ceremony. So it didn't really come around until like maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So like big change in my life when that happened.
Look at us now.
Because I wasn't always like this minimal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, we were having a conversation earlier too about the tea changed me, y'all. And the tea clearly changed Wes as well, but for me it was the ability to use the tea to create this space of intention as we are having now.
Yeah.
And I think Wes has a really beautiful story I'm going to ask him to tell. Because sometimes there are things that really change your life in the most beautiful, meaningful way, like matcha and tea has for a couple of us. But Wes's story was like he didn't intentionally go into this tea thing. Like somebody invited him and he was like, okay. So what happened?
Oh man, Chafinity is gonna like hear all about this because I don't think I told them this either. But so pretty much, I was hired to shoot like the tea ceremony, like just shoot it first. So and before that I had no idea what it was about going in.
Oh.
So that was my first step in the door, and to shoot it I had to understand it, and so they listed. I observed over like 70 different steps. So I had to like shoot each step one by one. And I'm like, what is this? Like, why is it so meticulous?
Yeah.
and I didn't get it. And I finished the job, and the job was the job. But then the sensei saw that I was like so hard working with the material. She was like, "Why don't you come join the class? You seem to like you would enjoy this." And so I did, but I don't think I really enjoyed it. Like, it took me like a good, I think, 6 months to really understand and appreciate what it was.
6 months of weekly classes?
Yeah, because I was doing it up to the point where I was just like, I felt bad that I was gonna abandon it, so that's why I kept going.
Oh my God.
Because I was like, I don't want to be rude and just like leave like that. Because I'm one of those people where I cannot leave a party like without feeling bad. So I just stay with it, you know? So I just stayed with it, and then I dreaded like, I even dreaded like going to class some days, because I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't want to do all these meticulous steps, and like, for what? For what reason? What good did it do me?
It's just leaf water.
Yeah. And they're just like sitting around just mixing,
Whisking
like,
leaf water.
And it was so like structured, and like my life wasn't structured. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all about like just free flowing. And then, so 6 months down the line, there was this one day where I was able to do the whole tea ceremony flow without the teacher saying anything and without correcting me. And then at that moment, I felt like so proud of myself. Like, I was like, oh wow, I actually did the whole process in my own flow. And from that point on, I understood it. Like, every time I completed it, I was like, I did it perfectly. And then from there, it's just refinement.
Wow. What does it mean to you, the tea? I know that's a hard question, because it's like
To me, the tea is a beverage. That's what it is to me.
it's leaf water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's really good water.
But the ritual is where it's at.
Yeah,
Dude.
because the ritual,
Exactly.
like, it teaches you so much, like, just like the discipline and the pauses in your life. It all reflects back onto your life.
Wow. So, you recently did this really cool art piece in Japan. When was that? Like 2-3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago, yeah, like November 4th, I believe.
So, you know, like us artists, we experience something and then we want to make it, but remix it in our own way. And Wesley's piece was to perform Cha no Yu with matcha, right? A matcha tea ceremony in an art gallery. But how would you describe your spin on it?
My spin on it was, so I added like a monitor. I almost like try to modernize like the tea ceremony process by adding another thing to look at, like a monitor here. And from that monitor, it was a feedback loop of a camera pointed at itself. And to me, that was like, it spoke to the tea, because the process, it's infinite. Like, you're doing this repetitively for however many guests you serve in your lifetime, it's infinite. So to me, it just kept going, and there's no end to this. And that's what that piece was about. So you gaze on until it disappears into the corner of the screen. But then that's not where it really ends.
Yeah.
That's what your eye can perceive.
It's like a fractal.
Yeah.
It goes sub-pixel. Wow. So, I never really considered that you could turn a tea ceremony into an art performance. How do you think it came across to the people in the gallery? Did they get it?
Hard to say. I mean, because the tea ceremony is like, it's hard to understand if you're not part of it.
Yeah.
So people come and they just like, so what they were more concentrated on was the display itself, because that was the most thing that caught their eye. But there was a couple of tea practitioners in attendance, and they were more concentrated on what I was doing here. They even told me like the setup was like where it was at, because even like the tools that I selected and everything was like very unique, and they've never seen anything like that before. But like I thought they would be concentrated on this, but they didn't really care about that.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see two different sides.
Yeah. Do you make stuff that's outside of video that you would consider part of your repertoire or whatever?
I mean, my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like I feel like everything I put my hands on is like I consider my artwork.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
So
Like just even like shifting a piece of object this way completes it for me, like in that sense.
yeah, that's really interesting. Earlier this year, I posted something on Instagram about I'm an artist when ... And it's just, I'm an artist when I choose to make breakfast a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an artist when, you know, I exert my creative energy on anything around or inside me, right? And I think that frees me up to just have more control over life
Yeah.
and just feel like, hey, I'm having fun with
Yeah.
all of this stuff.
And it's all natural, so it's like endless fun.
It's endless fun. One thing I really love about your work, Wes, I've never told you, is that you show us a visual in your films. Wes makes these short films that just seem like mundane scenes. But for me, it's really about what's not being said. It's like, what's the internal dialogue of the characters on the screen, right? And you never tell us, but like, you'll mention a couple things here and there, but most films you watch, you're seeing this narrative happen, and the narrative is the story. Whereas in your films, you're seeing this narrative happen, but the whole time you're like, what's in their minds right now? Like, you want to travel inside their person. Is that something you think about when you work on your work?
Sometimes, like, when I create my pieces, it's like, what do I want to say? Like, what does this moment in time mean to me? Like, what kind of message did I learn from this? So I, typically with all my videos, I incorporate some kind of message in there that's encrypted, and then the viewer has to figure it out. I mean, that's with all art, I feel. But
Yeah.
so you're not really watching for like narrative, but you're watching for like some kind of meaning.
Do you always have that up front, or does it come in the process too? Because
It comes like 80% of the stuff I shoot for the heck of it. I don't know what's gonna come out of it. And then it all comes together in the editing room when I reflect back on that moment of time.
your editing process must be so insane because you're always shooting all the time.
Yeah, and it's like I'm literally watching back like my life, but per the minute, like. So it's like, and I have to sit there until I'm like, oh, this would pair well with this moment. Yeah. So I'm just like piecing things together.
Yeah. What do you think that either people who are not artists or people who are beginner artists would gain from your process? Like if they, or is it just, if it works for you, do it? Like, do you see anything special about your process that other people would benefit from?
That's a hard question. Because I feel like everyone's process is so unique to themselves. How can you like pass that on? Because the way I work is very like, in my head, it's like, I can't even explain it in words. Because it's like moving it like so fast and I can't articulate.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, everything remains abstract until it finally comes out. It's like you're absorbing all of this life, right? And then you're like digesting it. And then you finally just like have to poop it out. And the artwork is the poop.
Yes.
And so I don't know what's going on during that digestion that digestion process. Like I'm just living until this thing wants to come out.
Yes.
And we were just talking about the Rick Rubin book, The Creative Act, which is a wonderful book. And he mentions just finding that flow and letting the thing come out.
Yeah.
I totally feel that. That's always been, like,
Oh.
when you try so hard to be
make it
crafty,
perfect.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's
So
not the
that's-
thing.
So I would say what people can take away is like letting your work evolve, because that's like my films weren't always like this. Like I started out simple. Like back in the day, like Instagram videos were max 15 seconds. So I was trying to put a message in 15 seconds, and it wasn't really doable. And then until it extended to the 1 minute mark, where I was like able to like really hone in on like that. But I would say like just put out work and don't be afraid if it's like bad, because like it's a progression of your work. Don't be afraid of the progression of your work.
So I think that's artistic constipation, like the equivalent of, right? If you just hold all this stuff in because you think you have to make the perfect thing, like whatever you put out next needs to be really good, and that's so much pressure, right? But also it's like not going to be the most authentic thing because it's going to be very contrived when it comes out. And I know that people suffer from that all the time as artists. What have you learned this year? You had a cool wallpaper on your computer when I came in. It says a lot can change in a year. For me, it's been a lot. It's been 5 decades of a year.
Wow. What'd you learn?
Actually, not 5 decades. It's been like 5 years of a year. I learned that I already knew this, but I really felt it this year, that this is one of my BAO-isms in my book, that you show up with the energy that you want to see in the world. And when you are the one to show up with it and initiate it, you just get it back, like triple. So if you want silliness, you fucking come into the room silly, right? If you want empathy and love and openness, you come in to any space with that. And you have to be the one to initiate that. So that's what I learned like really deep down this year, even though conceptually I kind of like knew that. I learned that in practice this year. And I've really actively been practicing that, and it feels really good to have control over a space with 100 people, right? Where you go in and you're like, oh, I want this to be like this, so you are the one to do it. And then you see everyone react to that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it.
It's a good lesson for this year. Yeah, thanks.
Like you were like glowing so bright at Burning Man. It's like from the moment that I met you, like at the tea ceremony room, totally different people. So it was like tremendous growth, I think.
Wow. Beautiful. Yeah. Do you have any like big things that clicked with you this year?
I have like a lot of things that clicked with me this year, but the most important thing I think is learning about like how powerful absence can be in things. This year I've like lived alone for like the first time in my life, like away from my ex and then from my family. So I like lived by myself in like solitude, and the absence of everything just makes the presence of things so much stronger.
Wow, that's a way to put it.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm comfortable with the absence of things, because I know when I'm in contact with other things, it's much more powerful, more emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I talk about this with people all the time, that you have to make that empty space for yourself. And one of the things that comes out of that, in addition to appreciating the presence of something, is deep down there is your inner voice. And whatever your natural flow is. And a lot of people can't hear their inner voice because they surround themselves with so much responsibility, belongings, other noise, media, right? And that's cool if that's what you love, but also it's like taking a bath. Sometimes you gotta draw the bath, wait for the water to fill the tub. That's empty space.
Yeah.
And so that empty space is life-changing. If you don't practice that yet, just give it a try and tell us how it goes.
Like that empty space, like allows you the space to like grow as like a person, in my opinion.
Wow.
Because like you have room to like really think about your life, not constantly weighed down by all the other things in the room.
Yeah. What are you translating all of this life into next, art-wise?
I mean, same thing that I've always been doing. It's creating these
Making
videos.
short films, capturing
I mean, like,
moments.
At the end of my life, it's gonna be one long like anthology of short little messages. Like each memo has like a memo. It's literally like a memo to people. When they watch it, they can learn something from.
Yeah. And you call them memos too. Most of the films are memos, right?
Yeah, like everything, it's kind of like a play on words because it's my memory, but it's a memo to people. Yeah.
How do you feel about seeing some of your old work?
The older stuff I cringe at.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, executionally I cringe at my old work too, but like I find the seed of where I was at the moment, and I really, really cherish that seed.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful to like hear some stupid song like, I don't know, Concrete Like is like on the first Ming and Ping album from, I probably wrote it in like 2003 or something too. And it's a terrible song.
But you're happy that you did it.
But I listened to it, I'm like, oh, remember that? Remember where you were? Baby BAO? Remember Baby BAO? And then I would like, just like stroke Baby BAO for a little bit and be like, good boy, you did your thing. And totally, I feel like that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Do you have any, weird questions you've always wanted to ask me but like never got a chance to?
I don't think it's appropriate for the audience.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
No, let's not go there.
Okay.
We've got a good thing going.
A BLUER Don Juan. I feel like, where does that come from? Is that a character from somewhere?
Don Juan is a character from somewhere.
Yeah.
But the other words I added to make my own.
Yeah, how did that come about?
So it's like, it was basically the origins of my persona, because let's see, a BLUER Don. So that's Don Juan was a nickname given to me by a filmmaking rival, I would say, in college.
That's awesome.
And he called me Don Juan, and he called himself Casanova. And then at the time, I didn't know he had feelings for me. So he confessed to me, and then I could not like give him what he wants. So then he just X'd me.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, I lost like a really close friend because we were like really good filmmaking buddies.
Yeah.
Like we always try to one up each other, trying to make like experimental films.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. So I lost like a really good connection there from that. And then at the same time, my first relationship of about like 5 years, she broke up with me. So I was going to like depression.
Blue as fuck.
Yeah, so BLUER. So.
We're laughing at your depression now.
Yeah. So I was really like going through it because I lost my friend, and then I lost my girlfriend, and then the name like Blue came from like at the time there was like a videographer that I was like really inspired by, who had like this like look that I was like really intrigued with. I was like, his style is so cool. Like, how can I like get that kind of like look? And his name was like Blue Sniff. So from there I was like, I'll be BLUER. BLUER, Don Juan, and then A is like I chose because it's not specific, because I don't like being like the center of attention, because then there's more than one of this person's story. There's like more than one a BLUER Don Juan, not just the BLUER Don Juan.
I got it.
Yeah.
Wow, Wes, that's deep.
At the time, that's what I felt. So I was just like, and now I'm like, kind of like the name, kind of like, because then like Don Juan is like a womanizer. So I'm like, it kind of like, it's like not good on when you say it, but now it's just what I'm living with.
Wow, that's a cool backstory. Well, this conversation's running pretty long, but it's been beautiful.
Yeah, I'm like really happy with this conversation. It's been good.
Yeah, I want to just encourage everyone to go watch some of Wes's films. Hopefully not too influenced by what I said about it, because that's just how I read them. Like, there's a narrative, and then there's like an underlying space that's created, and those are so beautiful to me. But everyone has their own take on it, I think. Executionally, though, you're like a filmmaker, you know? You're,
at the end of the day, it's just a glorified vlog.
yeah, but just like, this is just leaf water.
That's deep.
Well, Coffee with BAO has been so much more magical since there's been no rules and no structure, and I can just riff with people like you. I very much cherish this conversation.
Me too. That's great.
Cool. Well, I hope I can share a lot more of these with everyone out there. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching Coffee with BAO.
Bye. There it is. This is from like the headquarters in Japan.
Damn.